Yo, welcome back to another episode of Superhero Swag. I am your host, 16 the Icon, aka Mr. Superhero Swag. And if you can detect a little excitement in my voice, it is probably because today is the day. Everybody that's been watching along with me throughout this wave, if you know, you know. We have been waiting on Scott Summers for a couple days so that we can finish this wave and build the Nemesis Build-A-Figure. All right, so this is definitely one of the versions of Cyclops that I have been waiting on. I have a bunch of Cyclopses, and we are going to take a look at all of the Cyclopses that I actually have in my collection. There are a couple of them that I do not have in my collection. Unfortunately, I'm working on that. But today we have Scott Summers in the blue and yellow X Factor uniform. Now, this is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and much like the She-Hulk action figure, when it first debuted in the purple and white, we all knew that eventually we would get the classic Scott Summers Cyclops in the pretty much the iconic old school uniform from Giant Size X-Men #1 with the cuffed over Captain America pirate boots and all of that. Okay, so we should be getting one of those very soon because this is basically that. Just a little couple of paint tweaks, throw on those pirate boots, and yeah. But what they did for this is a pretty good pickup because the accessory, along with if you have the nostalgia factor for, Scott Summers in this uniform, then you're gonna be happy. He is completely pinless all the way through, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, and man, he's even got the hard waist swivel and the ab crunch. I am extremely pleased with this figure. He can look all the way up. Look at that. Beautiful. He can bury the chin into his chest like so. After he knocks somebody down with an optic blast, he can give them the you should have known better look, right? All right. So my man is killing him right now. And the only thing that I want to say is once before I did this, and I'm slipping. I did this before, didn't I? There we go. Man. All right, so that's a much better look at him. That's a much better look. So let's take a look at the paint applications on this guy. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, blue and yellow. You got your X-Men colors. And this guy is, once again, we talked about this on another episode. He has the boot cut. Okay, that is part of the articulation that we are happy to say he has. He's got the upper thigh cuts here for the articulation there. As I mentioned, I was very happy about the hard waist swivel, okay, and the hard ab crunch. Look at that. Look at that crouching, and the X is still there. He can lean back so far like so, and he has butterfly joints. Check him out. And he's got the butterfly joints. So what I'm looking at right now, I'm not really sure, is this the Vulcan body mold? I believe it is. Yes, it is. It is the Vulcan body mold because I am looking at that glove line that pretty much defines the Vulcan body mold. It is there. I can feel it with my thumbnail. So yeah, this is the Vulcan body mold, and it did a really good job as far as giving me exactly what I wanted out of Cyclops in the X Factor uniform. Now, it is going to be a headache and a half to get Jean Grey in her X Factor uniform from Target. I hate Target exclusives. The two Target exclusives that I've dealt with so far were the Astonishing Ant-Man. He was easy. He was easy. Black Widow was not as easy, but she was not really all that hard. And then I'm lying because I dealt with one more Target exclusive, and that was Miss Marvel. Carol Danvers in the Warbird outfit. But now looking back on it, I think I actually got that. No, I did get that from Target. I was lucky. I was lucky. Hopefully, I'll be lucky in getting Jean Grey, because what I want to do is take this Scott Summers, the Jean Grey that we get from Target, and then I will take another Cyclops and put the other Cyclops. Actually, let's do that real fast. This Cyclops right here. Okay. That Cyclops right there has the colors and the X. I put the Iceman head on top of that with the Bucky cap. He's smaller in stature than Scott, around the same height, sure. But as far as, whether or not he looks like he's the leader of the team, this guy would definitely look like he's more the leader than this guy because, Bucky cap. So I would take the Iceman head and put it on here, and then that would be Bobby, and then I've got Scott, and then Target will give me Jean, and then we got to figure out what we're going to do about Hank. But yeah, and I know they're going to give us Angel in the X-Force uniform because it's clean slam dunk. They've already got the figure. All they have to do is repaint it, and we all know, if you know Hasbro, they are the kings of reuse. So we know we're getting that figure. All right, so accessories wise, he comes with the screaming head. And I don't know why they leave it completely blank. They did this on the Astonishing Cyclops as well, where they leave the eye slit blank. I mean, and that's cool because what happens is they have the effect and you can plug the effect in. And it's kind of like the effect that they had with this guy here with the alternate head. You could plug in the optic blast, and that's dope. But what they did on this one was they took it a step further, and we like when they do that. They took it a step further. And let me finish plugging that in there. And then what you get is, yeah, look at that. Now, is that dope? That's dope. That is dope right there. So you get the screaming head, you get the stoic head where he's just chill, and then you get that pop, and we can trade the head like so. The hinge moved down on me. All right, we got the screaming head there. And the way that the accessory works is there is two parts, and they actually give you like that small groove right there so you can see where you're supposed to put it, and then boom, and it fits in like so to give you that contact blast look. And then you simply plug it into the eyepiece, and blam, look at that. So eventually, when they stop being all clandestine and they show us that they're doing Marvel versus Capcom, you'll be able to use this blast effect in some of your displays when they're doing their thing. That is dope, man. Look at that. That's crazy. I like that. I'm very pleased with that particular accessory. Now, also in the accessories department, we have a relaxed hand. All right. And we also have, good job, Scott. You didn't fall over when I tipped you. We also have what Shartimus Prime likes to call the Jean Grey pleasure pose. I just call it the hitting the optic visor button finger hand, but yeah, I like his terminology though. That's hilarious. But yeah, so this action figure is definitely going to be used. He's not going to be a shelf warming cat because I have my X-Men series going and we're going to be getting closer and closer to those Sentinels. And so, yeah. So Scott is here, and one of the other things I like to do is read the bio. And the bio on the back of the box states, a leader of the X-Men, Cyclops becomes a founder in a new team called X Factor after being reunited with Jean Grey. Spoiler alert, the way he was reunited with Jean Grey was it's kind of grimy. It was kind of grimy. He was married to Madeline Pryor, who actually is Cable's mom, and it was, it was released to Scott that Jean was actually back, and he just up and left Madeline, up and left his wife and child, man. It was crazy. Go through the comics, go back in comic history and see how crazy that whole interaction was. But on the other note, since we are on Cyclops mode today, you already saw that I had this Cyclops. So this is one of the Cyclopses that we had with the Bucky cap, which is the old Vulcan, because everything is Vulcan body mode now. And a while back, we couldn't get away from Bucky cap. So there's the Bucky cap. And that's the Bucky cap version of the blue and white version of this blue and yellow suit. Now, also in other Cyclopses, if we want to go backwards, we can go this Cyclops, which was the astonishing X-Men Cyclops. And as I said, the eye slit is out because they want you to plug in. Or will it plug in this one? Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. Just so you guys know that blast effect is backwards compatible. Good job, Hasbro. Backwards compatible with the other Cyclops that has the open eye slit. So that's awesome. I like backwards compatibility, gives me more options with my collection, and that is always a plus. All right, now going back more. This was my Jim Lee cell shaded. I didn't think I was going to like it, but now I love it. Cyclops. This is my definitive Cyclops right now in my collection. Okay. So we are getting on our way to having a Cyclops party. Now, the least favorite Cyclops that a lot of people really they are not feeling this Cyclops. And I can understand because it is on the Bucky cap. It is hindered in articulation by all types of weird design because of the whole Age of Apocalypse thing. And it's kind of simple because he's just in all blue except for the bare arm and the long hair. And he really can't move his head. And yeah. But y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about this guy right here. Age of Apocalypse Cyclops. So I've also got him. But let's move all of those to the side because, ladies and gentlemen, my action figure junkie obsession led me to get this figure because I wanted to have this iteration of Cyclops in my collection and on my shelf. Because this is, as Dan Who Reviews says, my mind's eye of Cyclops. This is my mind's eye of Cyclops. When I think of Cyclops when I was growing up as a kid, this is Cyclops, man. And this is a Bucky cap. I know everybody's like, that is the Bucky cap, but this Bucky cap is in pristine condition. Paint apps are fire, and he does what I need him to do on the shelf. However, looking at this guy, which is why I gave him his own little segment, he is not far at all from this guy. So I stand these up together, and I will stretch out his legs, take him out of his pose that I had him in. And then we're going to just stand him alongside this guy right here, because at the end of the day, we want an updated version of that guy on that. I want that on that. And could you do me a favor? When you do this, I was going to try and clean it up, but I messed that up. All right, when you do, this is, to Hasbro. When you do this on this body, please, for the love of Christ, please have it be the same color as this so that we can change the heads around. Stop making Cyclops 15 different colors just because you don't want us to keep one Cyclops and switch the heads or something. Like you think you're going to make more money because you use every spectrum of the color blue with one character. It's unnecessary. Backwards compatibility is the way to go so that we have more options with the figures, dude. Please, geez, man, I swear. So when you do this on this body, please have it be the same color as this. Because what happened was I took this and I was able to put this head on this body and it looks fire. Looks fire because the blues aren't all that dissimilar. Now, in my going down memory lane with Cyclops thing before I go, I wanted to bring y'all this because this will blow your mind. This will blow your mind. This is the very first Cyclops that I ever had in my collection. He came with an X-Men set, the very first class X-Men, and I actually still have all of those, including Iceman, who looks like Snowman, and the very early articulated Angel, and just to show y'all how far we've come, man. This is Cyclops back then. And then the light would shine from, and you can see, you can get the reds in his eyes. That was kind of a cool option back then. But the articulation and how far we've come, guys. This is why I don't do as much crying. And I'm going to call it crying. I don't do as much crying about the prices of the figures when I understand tariffs are happening and everything else. And, they're dealing with the lawsuit and everything else. So stop crying. You either want the figure or you don't want the figure. It's pretty much that simple. This is disposable income. We're talking about toys, guys. You either want the figure or you don't. Yes, I'm talking about Maximum Spider-Man, Maximum Hulk. Period. You either want the figure or you don't. Stop crying about it. My whole thing is, getting off topic on Cyclops is on just real talk. The Hulk that I bought, the 80th anniversary Hulk, $60, right? Well, that's the exact same Hulk that they're selling us, but it just got a different torso and it's got a little stretchy, it's got toe articulation. It's got 3 different heads, all types of accessories, and it's only $60, bro. Either you want the figure or you don't. Stop crying. Stop crying about it. Every place I go through the community, people are crying about the Spider-Man figure, but they have it. They're crying about it, but they have it. What does that tell you? The figure's going to do me a bunch of good. It's going to make me happy. I like the figure. I like the articulation of the figure, talking about Maximum Spider-Man. It does more than the other Spider-Man figures. As far as the Maximum Hulk, the only gripe I have is they should have made him a little bigger. I want him to tower over the other figures, not just be a little bigger than the other figures. That's my only gripe. And I think that one of the main accessories should have been a powered down Bruce Banner with purple pants, a rope around his belt, no shirt, and no shoes or socks. Like he just transformed back. I think that would have been a great accessory outside of the Thunderclap accessory, or added in with the Thunderclap accessory. Then you know what? They could have charged me $70 and I would have paid for it because it had an extra figure in there. Just saying. Just saying. So this was an extremely long and drawn out review for this figure because I wanted to go through showing all the other Cyclopses that I had in my collection. I do not have House of X. I know I don't have House of X Cyclops, and there's at least one more Cyclops that I know I don't have. But before I go, I want to show y'all this because I thought this was dope. I mean, and it's not fitting on there all perfect or anything, but look at that. Look at that. I mean, bruh, I like it. All right, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Get notified. And you already know what the next one is, everybody. The next video, I will be putting together the Nemesis Build-A-Figure. We are finally here, y'all. Thank you for hanging in with me. Amazon was playing around with me, man. You know how it goes. But until next time, everybody, thank you for watching. Peace.